Currency Wars has been out for quite a while at this point, and when you take a look at most of the popular team comps, a lot of them tend to have a pretty similar formula. Make the anti-grab boots and win the game. Well, what if I told you there was a competitive team comp that didn't use the anti-grab boots at all? Well, it can, but it is different, so it still counts. You saw the thumbnail. I'm talking about the solo on-field Mydei comp, so let me explain how it works. As the name implies, the idea behind this comp is to run Mydei as your only character on field, in order for him to eat every single enemy attack to build up his gauge to fire off Godslayer Be God. However, unlike the Durian Finden comp, he's not reflecting damage through items, but through the power of scaling max HP. You see, his Special Currency Wars talent causes him to permanently gain 100 max HP every time he uses Godslayer Be God. So, this paired with his items allows him to scale throughout the course of a run, turning him into a walking nuke by the time you reach that stage 3 final boss. You also have the added benefit of the comp basically auto-playing itself in battles, which could make for peak second monitor gameplay if you're just trying to grind ranks and chill. Now, obviously we have Mydei as the staple for this comp, but what about the rest of his teammates? Well, other than Mydei, your second most important unit is going to be Ceredra. She helps with providing Mydei his Knight Demigod bond synergy, and most importantly, she provides solid buffing alongside extra skill cast for Mydei, which means even more permanent max HP. For the rest of the units, you're looking to fill up your off-field side of the board with as many Bloodflame and Knight Demigod units to buff Mydei even further with his bond synergies. The typical endgame comp I've been running contains Mydei, Ceredra, Shield Dan Hong, Hyacinth, Evernight, Casterus, and then a second healer, whether that be Gallagher, Luocha, or Fushuan. This brings your bond synergies up to a grand total of 4 Bloodflame, 5 Knight Demigod, and 2 heal. Now, this is what I've been running for comfort with heals. Again, most of the damage is coming from Mydei scaling his HP to a ridiculous degree, so the added healing from the healing bond as well as the HP amplification serves to assist with that end. Lastly, since Mydei is your only on-field unit, you can only fit 7 units on your board. However, another technicality is that you could add Cyrene with the Perpetual Engine and Bronya for more buffing. However, in doing so, you run the risk of them accidentally taking aggro from Mydei, so it really depends on if you feel like you're lacking damage in your run. Now that we have the team members, let's talk items. Like Mydei himself, this is also pretty straightforward. First off, we'll need to make a caloric overload by combining a Flower of Life and a Photon Cell. This will actually serve as one of our main sources of sustain, as it'll heal Mydei for 20% of his max HP when he casts a skill. This both keeps him alive and funds more Godslayer Be God procs. From there, you'll want 2 Foley Knives and 2 Roller Skates in order to create 2 Firestorm Surges. This will allow Mydei to scale his damage within each battle himself, giving him that extra power to punch through those tougher encounters. Pun very intended. From there, if you have spare roller skates, you can give Ceredra anti-grab boots to help her help Mydei generate more Godslayer Be God procs. Other notable items would be the Ring of Life for more max HP for Mydei, planetary drills on someone like Evernight, confidence injectors on any of the buffer units like Shield Dan Hong or Ceredra, and of course, Weapon Masters. Moving on, in terms of investment environments and strategies, you're really looking to get Mydei early on and with his best in slot items in order to start his HP stacking. As such, investment environments like Bloodflame Index Funds, Secondhand Market, and Economic Overheat either help increase your odds of finding Mydei, provide you with more funds to reroll for his 3 stars, or provide you with more items to put together his best in slot items. Then, for strategies, you've got the same idea. So options like Bloodflame Emblem, Flower of Life Blessing, and IPC Armory Update can either provide you with an immediate copy of Mydei, or provide you with items that he'll need to come online. So now that you know what you need to win your run, how do you get there? Well, again, this Mydei comp centers around getting him on field as soon as possible to start stacking his HP. So if you can start with a copy of him, you can start on-fielding him with some supports like Shield Dan Hong, Hyacinth, Gallagher, and Cypher in order to start stacking Knight Demigod early while also providing Bloodflame and heal bond synergy buffs. Alternatively, if you don't find an early Mydei, you can try and aim for the tried and true damage over time start with units like Asta, Sampo, and your choice of sustain units. If you do run this comp, you can consider popping in a copy of Small Herda on your board as well in order to get some extra econ from the Cosmic Scholar bond as you save up your coins. Whichever start you end up running with, your goal is to hit level 6 as soon as possible with at least 50 gold. From my experience, this should be possible to hit by the Plane 1 boss, if not earlier. Once you're level 6, your goal is to then start slow rolling for 3-star Mydei. You'll also want to start assembling the proper pieces for your mid-game, which would be Ceredra, Evernight, off-field Hyacinth, and Gallagher. Then, depending on who you find first, you can also slot in Jingyu temporarily to give you the next tier Bloodflame, or, if you find her, you can slot in Casterus to hit the next tier of both Bloodflame and Knight Demigod. From there, it's a pretty simple game plan. 3-star Mydei, and if you want, you could also try 3-starring units like Ceredra and Shieldon Hung, but obviously, your priority needs to be getting Mydei to 3 stars as soon as possible. Once you get it, you can feel free to hit level 7 to get your potential final board online, which would be Mydei on field, and then Ceredra, Evernight, Casterus, Shieldon Hung, Hyacinth, and then your choice of Luocha or Fushuan off field. Lastly, if you wanted to and or need the extra damage, you can also continue to level to place Cyrene and Bronya on field to provide even more buffs for your Mydei to pop off. I know I've said this before, but this comp is really straightforward to play, so there aren't too many last pointers I can give, considering how Mydei controls himself in battle anyways. However, at least in regards to enemy affixes, you'll need to stay away from permanent trauma, critical conundrum, and self-defense. Either one of these can make it extremely difficult for Mydei to function as your only on-field unit. Permanent trauma will reduce Mydei's max HP, reducing his damage throughout the fight. Critical conundrum will make it difficult for Mydei to sustain himself with caloric overload, and self-defense will cause him to take more damage than he can mitigate, potentially leading to self-KOs. Now, outside of these three, Mydei shouldn't be too worried about the other affixes, as enemies advancing in actions only serve to help him get more Godslayer Be God procs off, and he'll have 3 full items as your main carry. Now, I don't want you guys to need to rewatch the video if you want to follow along with the guide, even though that'd be great for the old analytics. So I went ahead and made another in-game strategy code that you can follow along with. You'll find it down in the description. Just make sure you copy everything in order to be able to pull it up in-game. And that about wraps it up for today's video. I hope you guys have had a great new year so far. I'm a bit biased, but I'm personally really excited for the videos coming out this year. So be sure to subscribe to make sure you don't miss them. Let me know in the comments what updates you're hoping to see for Currency Wars in 4.0, and most importantly, have a blessed day.